To call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first item we have is assignment for request for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 22-207 budget amendments, 22-208 amend code section 50507 cruelty to animals generally, section A, 22-209 grant application body worn cameras police, 22-210 master services agreement with Medina County Port Authority fiber circuit, 22-211 revocable use permit fencing and stairs on city parking lot property, 22-212 ARPA funding for permanent support housing approval, 22-213 donation to farmers and hunters feeding the hungry, 22-214 resolution of support Champion Creek Connector project, 22-215 increased expense closing PO 2022-689 service department, 22-216 stormwater operation and maintenance agreement Taco Bell, 22-217 bids job number 1124 fire station number 1 parking lot replacement, 22-218 bids job number 1097 city railroad drainage and crossing improvements, 22-219 easements Gates Mills bridge replacement, 22-220 increase PO 2022-1083 emergency railroad repair, 22-221 increase our ARPA approve small business workforce grant assistant grants, 22-222 increase PO 22-1077 to $24,000 for the fire department, and finally 22-223 amend salaries and benefits code chief building official compensation. Next item we have is 22-207, which are budget amendments. The first one is 2022-029. Keith,
This is a pass-through, but we have to appropriate it.
any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-030 probation services uniforms.
It's pretty self-explanatory. It's for uniforms for probation services. Now, it's one out of one of those court funds where they bring the money in from court costs.
Right? Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-031 probation services.
This is another one of the court funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-032 hospital refund IT miscellaneous.
So the first item here is the hospital refund. We discussed that 2 weeks ago, and it's on tonight, the ordinance is. That's a refund for an overcharge to the hospital. The next three are the advance to the newly created IT fund, and then the appropriation of the funds within that fund, and then all the rest are just transfers, moving around money to balance things out.
Questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just want to, it's not an IT fund, it's a new IT department.
No, it's both.
It's both? Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware we have to create the new IT department.
Right, we're creating a department, but we're creating a fund that will
Fund the department.
Fund the department.
Okay,
So, yeah.
thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 3, 22-208 amend code section 50507 cruelty to animals generally A. Who's handling this? Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to add the language to the cruelty to animals ordinance. We're adding except as permitted by 50511. The current ordinance that we have doesn't provide a definition of domestic or companion animals or wild animals, so we felt it was justified to clean this up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-209 grant application for body worn cameras police. Chief Kitty?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a grant. It's not body-worn cameras. It's the software that we use for redaction. It's for 2 additional licenses as well as personnel costs for the redactions that we do on our body cam for public records requests. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Emergency clause.
I'm sorry, the emergency clause has been requested. The grant deadline has passed.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-210 master services agreement with Medina County Port Authority. Sergeant Zaremba?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to a 3-year contract that was reviewed by a law department, Mr. Huber, and approved. It's between us and the Medina Port Authority. In the past 10-plus years, the Medina school system had paid for our circuit between Medina City Hall and Medina High School, where we have our backup disaster recovery bunker. Since our MOU is dissolving in January, we're going to have to take over the expense of that circuit. So that's what this is a 3-year circuit cost agreement, and we're trying to get it in place by January.
Hence the emergency clause.
Right.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-211, revocable use permit fencing and stairs on city park lot property. Andrew?
Yeah, this is a request for a revocable use permit to allow Craig Sturgill of South Court LLC to remove a 4-foot tall chain link fence on the Feckley lot property, replace it with a 4-foot tall black metal fence. Those are both located on the Feckley lot. There's also a staircase, which is located portion on the city's lot, portion on Mr. Sturgill's lot, to reconstruct those in the same manner with like a Trex material and railings to match the fence. And the emergency clause is requested in order to allow Mr. Sturgill to get started on the project this fall.
Thank you. The only thing before executing, just update the notary clause, because you got to add a sentence in there. Just something I saw. And Mr. Huber, did you look at the other stuff on this? Okay. Any other questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-212, ARPA funding for permanent supportive housing approval. Who's doing this one? Barbara, is this?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, in the mayor's absence, he asked me to speak to this. This is a $70,000 request that we'll use ARPA funds for the permanent supportive housing development that's being proposed on Independence Drive. I think you already approved the rezoning of land for this. This will be like our battered women's shelter project, will be just one of several funding sources. It's a $2.7 million project, so.
Okay, question?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-213, donation to farmers and hunters feeding the hungry. Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. You might recall from previous meetings that we had discussions when we were talking about the deer management program about the possibility of donating to local food banks. This has taken several weeks to get together, but what is requested here is a nonprofit that's been around for quite some time called Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry. They have a local chapter in Wayne County that has worked with Canaan Meats and Yoder Meats for the last several years. And it came to my attention that Feeding Medina County participated in that program out of Wayne County last year and received approximately 300 pounds of ground venison. So I connected with Katie Fierst, the executive director of Feeding Medina County, who put me in touch with the local contact for the Wayne County Farmers and Hunters Feeding the Hungry program. We talked, and he agreed to let individuals participating in our archery hunt to have the opportunity to take their deer to either Canaan Meats after youth gun season or Yoder Meats, which are both in Wayne County, to have their animal donated, if they so choose, to essentially go straight back to Feeding Medina County. What they would do is take an average weight of the deer and then make sure that that processed deer gets back to Feeding Medina County. And just a little tidbit on Feeding Medina County, they're feeding approximately 3,000 people each month, and they go through approximately 1,200 pounds of meat. So they are in need of protein, and this would certainly help. So I thought it would be beneficial to consider making a donation now that we have passed the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. The money's coming from, what is that, 52215? What?
That is a general admin account, and we tracked back previous donations, and the finance department made that recommendation.
Okay, any questions on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Rose?
I thank you for doing this, Jensen. Joel and I are going to add $250 to that.
Are any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-214, resolution of support for the Champion Creek Connector Project. Mr. Worley.
Thank you, Mr. President. The city has been in discussions with West Creek Conservancy, which is a local nonprofit that has worked with a variety of different organizations, including Medina County Park District, on preserving and protecting green space within communities in Northeast Ohio. They are asking for a resolution of support to provide support to them through a grant application to Clean Ohio Green Space Conservation Program, where they will be applying for grant funding to purchase approximately 10 acres adjacent to Roscoe Ewing Park and Stanberry and Maxine Nichols Park for the sole purpose of conservation and preservation.
Any questions?
The emergency clause is requested because the grant application is due by October 28th.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-215, increase PO 2022-689, Concosing for the Service Department. Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're asking to increase this purchase order by the amount of $18,000. The reason is we use asphalt to patch big areas in the streets and parking lots, and we've seen an increase in pricing. We were hopeful to get through the remainder of the year, but it doesn't look like we can, so I appreciate the consideration.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-216, Stormwater Operation and Maintenance Agreement for Taco Bell. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've done these before for other businesses. What it is, the EPA has made it a requirement that when any kind of development installs a detention facility, they have to maintain it, and they also have to come to an agreement with the local municipality to complete that maintenance. So that's what this is about.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-217, bids for job number 1124, Fire Station Number 1, parking lot replacement. I guess this is either both the chief and Patrick, or who wants to do it?
Well, I can start. The chief could jump in if he needs to add anything. We've all been up to the Fire Station Number 1, and you know the condition of the parking lot. We thought the ARPA funds would be a good opportunity to fund a project to replace most of the parking lot. I included our drawing on with the request. There are some areas like the front entrance off of Huntington and part in the rear by the doors there that we felt could remain, but the rest of this would be removed and replaced.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 22-218, bids for job number 1097, City Railroad Drainage and Crossing Improvements. Patrick?
Thank you. As you may remember, last year we applied for and received a grant from ORDC to complete this project. That grant will furnish $249,600 towards the $411,000 project. This will be a complete replacement of the existing surface crossing, and then to do some drainage improvements along the rail line north from 18, heading north approximately 1,000 feet. That's been an area we've battled for many, many years because of poor drainage. The funding will come from ORDC predominantly, City 145 funds, which is the rail funding, and 108 funds. Whenever we do a crossing project, it's been our policy to bill it 50% to the railroad fund and 50% to 108.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-219, easements for the Gates Mills Bridge replacement. Patrick?
Thank you. We've spoken about this recently, and that council authorized an appropriation request. We mentioned at that time that we were hoping it wouldn't be necessary, and it was not, assuming you accept this. The property owner agreed to sign the easement for the appraised amount. In addition to that, he's asking us to, with the project, to furnish and install some rock riprap to stabilize the stream bank adjacent to his house. We thought this was fair and reasonable. The estimated cost for this additional work is $2,700.
Any questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 22-220, increase PO 2022-1083, emergency railroad repair. Patrick?
Yes, it's been a tough year for our railroad. We've had several of these emergency repairs. This is the latest one. We're asking to increase the existing PO by $15,000, which will cover the invoices we have on hand and leave a couple thousand extra in case something else comes up before the end of the year.
Any questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 22-221, ARPA approved small business workforce assistance grant. Mrs. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is for council to consider approval of 22 small business grant applications and authorize the mayor to enter into a grant agreement with each business. A copy of the grant agreement is attached and has been reviewed, modified, and approved by our outside legal counsel, Walter Haverfield. The Economic Development Committee, as you know, has reviewed the attached grant applications and have recommended their approval. The dollar amounts of the applications vary. They were based on what was requested, their eligibility, and their need. All applicants will be using the funds for workforce needs that address either hiring or rehiring or retention of employees. The businesses are all registered with the Ohio Secretary of State and RETA and have met all other grant requirements. And I will make one modification to that. There's actually one on there that we're still waiting to hear from on RETA, but all the others are registered. And then the estimated cost is $108,000. Thank you.
So the one we're waiting on, we'll just wait in 2 weeks. If we don't get it, then we just remove it from the grant award?
Yeah, that's correct. If we don't get a positive read back from RETA, we would take that one off.
Okay. Yeah, as a member of the Economic Development Committee, we went through each of these applicants and made a determination of their impact of COVID and how the job, employee, different items, and I guess collectively came up with the numbers to award in a grant to help assist these businesses, which I think is the fairest way to do it. So, anybody else have any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-222, increase PO 22-1077 to $24,000, Fire Department. Chief Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a PO increase for an unexpected repair to one of our fire trucks. The gearbox that drives the pump in that truck failed and needs to be completely rebuilt. The estimate that we got for it is just over $11,000. That includes the factory rep coming up to assist with that replacement. The emergency clause has been requested because that truck is completely out of service until we get it repaired. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 22-223, amend Salaries and Benefits Code, Chief Building Official Compensation. Well, since the mayor's not here and I'm acting mayor, I guess I could talk about this a little bit. Every so often, our department heads are offered opportunities in other communities to take jobs elsewhere. And this is one of those situations where Mr. Gladys, our current building official, had that opportunity, and as shown in the request, his pay grade is at a 114, which is a range between 107 and 128. His current salary is at 112, so it's at the lower end of that range. Now, instead of trying to give the modification of approximately $13,000, I thought we should offer a trade with our service director, but that didn't work out. But now, we are in a situation where, I think Dan's an asset to at least the city and works well with the community. And he runs his department quite well, and of course, he generates a lot of funds from his department. Of course, I always had the question about, I'm always nervous about appropriating new funds. No offense, Dan, even to keep Dan.
He's worth it.
But he has enough funds in his carry forward to cover the increase in his costs over the next 5 years, so we could keep him. He's agreed that, matching the amount that this other community offered, he likes it here, wants to stay here, and I think it's an important thing, not only for the city, but to keep the team together, because I think, we have a pretty good team, and they work well together. And this is one way that, we could do it. And the fact that he's at the low end of his range because he's a salaried employee, and the fact that he's using carry forward funds makes it a little bit more palatable. And, that's not the only reason, Dan. I think we like you and you do a good job on top of it, because I think we had a lot of compliments from many business owners around the community of how you handle your department, how you issue permits, and how you just administer the code as far as, the building code is concerned with respect to the different projects around the city. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we want to do. So the estimated cost is $12,513 for the increase in his salary. And, he'll be with us for a little longer, maybe longer than most would, hope. I mean, you want to stay longer than no retirements in your future. So maybe 20 more years, I'm not sure.
Oh, he just promised me he wasn't retiring.
Yeah, well, he's only like 35, so I think he has a long time, so he can do that. But anybody have any questions?
No, give Dan the man his money.
I just have a comment. Dan, you attend just as many, if not probably more, ribbon cuttings than I do, and that's one of the first comments that's made by the owners of the establishments that were doing their ribbon cutting is how easy the process was with your department, you especially. And I've always been honored to represent the city with every department head, not just you, Dan, but Kimberly. I mean, I can go right down the line, our law director, our finance director, our fire chief, our Parks and Recreation director, our city engineer, our planning director, our service director, our clerk of council. I mean, it is a true team. And I'm glad that we were able to do this to maintain your employment here. I'm sure the opportunities would have been great for you at another location, but we were heartened to hear that you love the city of Medina, and I think the city of Medina loves you too, as well as our other department heads. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I just want to say too, this kind of all came about very quickly last week. I happened to be here and when this was all playing out, and I guess I want to note it that Dan did not ask for us to match this. This was our idea when he told us he had actually had his letter written and handed to the mayor, and we started talking as both council and administration, and we just appreciate everything you do, Dan, and we did not want to lose you from Medina, so we're very thankful, and we're very thankful how much you enjoy being part of this team and all you do for Medina. So I'm glad this all worked out, and we're going to be able to keep you.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else to come before finance? Because we have an executive session regarding land acquisition if there's nothing else. Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion at 6:23 to go into executive session to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. If premature disclosure of this information would give an unfair competitive bargain advantage to a person whose personal or private interest is adverse to the public interest, to include counsel and,
I think Jansen and Greg Huber.
the law director and the Parks and Recreation director.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll be recessing into executive session, discussing the land acquisition and returning to finance, adjourning from finance, taking no action of anything discussed in the executive session and moving on to council. We are in recess.